That nickel 9. Yeah. 5-9J. Let me speak my mind up. It's just me keeping it real. Keeping it 100. Let's go. Yeah.
Hey, yo, what's good with everybody, man? I hope everybody's having a productive day, feeling blessed, and like I always say, it's one life, one chance. We only got one chance to do this right. Let's get it done. That being said, man, I want to review this information for you guys. I had it for a very long time. I think I mentioned it like once or twice in the video. It's only because I only had a small bit of the information, but I needed confirmation. And the way I received confirmation, let's just say somebody that was a part of the organization who fell from grace, I got in contact with. I had the information in the back of my head and I decided to ask him and got it confirmed. So I decided to share it with you guys. So let's get into the video. So when it comes to Miami, the Mexican Mafia, we all know the bigger you get and the more powerful you get and the more money you obtain within that organization, those that don't have that sense of power, that kind of power or that kind of money, you become the primary target and possibly be subjected to, getting hit by your own kind. See, it's real easy to politic on your own people when you want something that they have, especially when it's a lot of people who feel the same way about you and they can all become complicit with one another's ideas and say the same thing. He has too much money, he has too much territory, he has too much power, he has too much control. And obviously all that combined into one, that concoction right there will cause anybody to become arrogant, become resistant, and become a nuisance to their own organizations. Even though he might not be a nuisance, even though he's probably doing everything accordingly, doesn't matter. When your people want you gone, they're going to take you out. All they need is a viable excuse, a reasonable excuse, put you in that kind of predicament and persuade a vast majority of the vote to take you out the game. We've seen it time and time again. Tonito became one of the most powerful individuals. Look what happened to him. Fox became so powerful with his allegiance to La Familia, a Mexican drug cartel. He got put on disregard for all the power that he was able to obtain from that. And all the power struggles from within, the big vacuums that took place all over the state of California. Fly became so powerful with so many territories and so much money, making over $100,000. $100,000 from a prison cell. What happens to him? His own brothers take him out. His own brothers only have the capability of sanctioning their own brothers' removals. So it ain't nobody else that's killing their own kind besides your own brotherhood. Popeye, the Roman Empire, same thing. And that's what I want to talk about because the underlying issue is this. We all know about Stomper from Monrovia. He volunteered. He was asked to blast another Mexican Mafia member. He does so. He blasts one of the most powerful Mexican Mafia members in the California penal system at that time that was facing over 2 different indictments of extortion, racketeering, murder, you name it. Dude got too powerful. His brother wanted a piece of the pie. So they said, you know what, we're going to get 2 young sureños, ambitious sureños that want to make a name for themselves and want membership into the Mexican Mafia. And we're going to have them blast this dude because we can't reach him. So they did. They took care of it. You guys know the story. One aspect before I get into Popeye's demise and the investigative facts that I've came across is that right before Stomper did it, best believe that he was advised by a couple of his own sureños, because I talked to a couple of people that went on a yard with them. He was actually advised by his camaradas, his primos, that, hey, bro, do you realize that they're not going to let you get away with that? And he's like, you think so? You really think that? And they were like, yeah, bro, they're not going to let you hit one of their own and then give you membership. It doesn't work like that. They're using you, bro. They're going to do you dirty. They're going to do your partner dirty. So he was aware of the situation. He had an idea of the situation and what could possibly happen. And it was common sense to everybody else, maybe even to him. It was common sense that if you blast an MM member without an MM member, bro, they're not going to let that slide. They just can't They can't send a message out to the yard saying, hey, man, it's okay if 2 sureños blast a Mexican Mafia member. We'll give you membership for that. They want to make themselves feel invincible and untouchable only from within. They can touch each other. They can blast each other. They can kill each other. But anybody below them doesn't have the sanction, doesn't have the approval, the blessings, the authority, or the power to ever lay hands on a Mexican Mafia member if you're not one, and especially if you're a camarada, you're a sureño, you're a soldier to them. You don't have that authority to do so. So he does it anyways. You know, I can reach out to him if I really want. There's some things that are taking place where it won't allow me to disturb that man's peace and his program and what he got going on. Big thanks, popping him, because I'm connected to him through a friend that I was on the SNY with that's doing life. So they got good things going on for them, so I'm not going to disturb that by just answering a question and putting certain things on blast and, like I said, disturb his peace. He's doing what he got to do in jail to make his time, you know, bearable. That's all I can say about that. So he's doing his thing, but he takes heed to the situation, but he does it anyways. Because in his lifestyle, it was so hard to turn down an objective, turn down an order, turn down a directive given by a Mexican mafia member and who he was connected to. The only thing was other Mexican mafia members sanctioned that hit, asked him and his partner to do it, but Popeye said, Charles, Popeye told him not to do it. Popeye told him not to get involved because Popeye protected Stomper. He had hella love for Stomper. Stomper worked for him for many, many years. And Popeye said, don't get involved. Don't raise your hand for that. Let my brothers take care of it with their own soldados. I mean, when you become ambitious, bro, and you get the promise and they dangle the carrot in front of you of membership into the Mexican Mafia, to have your own territorias, to have your own feria, to have everything. Bro, it's a carrot. It's a carrot on a stick. They just led them down the wrong path. And it was that easy to have one of their best soldiers that was blasting people way before he committed this murder on a Mexican Mafia member to raise his hand because the man had life. The man killed a skinhead in his neighborhood. He wasn't coming home no more. Did a couple of moves prior to this situation. So it was so easy to convince a camarada who had ambitions to say, you know what, pick up a banger, blast my brother, and you got my blessings. They convinced him, and they railroaded him at the end. His partner seen it coming before Stomper did. Partner decided to leave and go to the SNY. Stomper decided to ride it out. Got into a lot of conflicts with Spy, got into conflicts with Gangster from Avenues. It's funny that when he blasted a Mexican Mafia member and starts walking the yard again, obviously he's going to become arrogant. Because how many Southsiders or Southerners or Sureños can really say they blasted an M member and took his win? And then the rumor went around, everybody knew about it, that he was promised membership into the Mexican Mafia. So obviously he's going to walk around with a complex, his chest poking out, his head held high. So he's just waiting for membership. The whole time Popeye told him not to do it, not to get involved in their politics. Maybe it was a way of, you know, Popeye saying like, bro, my politics are dirty. My brotherhood's politics are dirty. You don't want this for yourself. And especially I think Popeye knew like, bro, they're not going to let you slide. So I'm trying to tell you now, don't get involved. Don't kill one of my brothers. It's only going to backfire. And it did. Stomper got into a lot of conflict with a lot of Mexican Mafia. But how it came about, you know, they were looking for a lot of reasons. Unjustifiable reasons, small fractions. Anytime Stomper did anything like I explained in my video on YouTube, go check it out. One of my best videos I was ever to do by, you know, obtaining information by the person himself. Anything that man did, he was getting criticized and crucified for it. They were just looking for a reason. They needed a reason because they weren't about to allow one of their soldiers to blast one of their members and get away with it and send that message that it was okay to take the life of a Mexican Mafia member. So what happened? The Mexican Mafia actually brought it up to Shorty and brought it up to Popeye. They brought it up to Popeye because they knew that was Popeye's soldiers, so they felt like Popeye had to be the one to do it. So they tried to persuade Popeye like, hey, that's your soldier. He killed one of our brothers. Yeah, we may have said this, we may have said that, but can't allow that to, you know, to exist. They told Popeye to do it. Popeye said, Charles, you guys sent him on a mission. You guys told him to kill him. I told him not to. Charles, I'm going to protect my little soldier. It didn't work out that way because when they realized that Popeye was going to present a big resistance and having one of his own little foot soldiers killed, they continued to get at Shorty per se. Shorty went behind Popeye's back and orchestrated everything to have Stomper get blasted on the yard. But he had to do it behind Popeye's back because they were on the yard together. Popeye was resisting. And like I said, when you get that big and that powerful, you're going to develop enemies no matter what. And we all know in this lifestyle or in life in general, your biggest enemies always come from within. Your biggest enemies are the circles that surround you. He made enemies with his own brothers by not even conflicting with his own brothers. All he did was make money, created an empire, became powerful. Hell, they made a movie about the man. The tax collector. That's how powerful that man was, and that's how easy it was for him to lose his power and lose his empire as well. Because your own people, your own brothers, your own circle is going to be the first ones that hit on you and cut you from the legs and bring you down. So they used Shorty, since they were able to convince Shorty that this was necessary and it was important for them to remove Stomper and get rid of him. That way nobody else gets the clear indication that it's okay to blast one of their own members. So when Stomper gets blasted, Popeye hears about it. And, you know, I heard this story. Like I said, Joker from Hazard was one of them. And then Popeye from Harpys was another one. They had so much power and so much control and so much fear with prison administration and CDCR that they would use the whole day room. If you were a camarada and you violated a policy, created an infraction that they disagreed with, and you needed to be made an example of, they'd put you in a day room and have every Sureño jump you, beat you, stomp you out in front of the cops. The tower cop will be watching. The floor cops will be watching. They didn't press their alarm. They didn't get involved. They didn't try no preventative measures to stop these guys from a whole day room beating on one of their own, because they figured, hey, we might as well let them take care of their politics. They're going to do it one way or another. I'd rather them do it to each other. No, it doesn't disturb the program. Most importantly, they don't greenlight us and start stabbing us, because their big homies are out here to get it done. They ain't got to wait 3 or 4 weeks or a month for a kite to get it done. They could just, hey, blast the cop. So they used to have a lot of Sureños jump some of their own people that were on, you know, disregard, red flags, stuff like that, in the day room and beat on everybody. So Popeye was one of them. But another thing they told me that Popeye was he was loud. He was real loud. He was loud like he spoke out loud, and then he spoke loud out loud. So that's two different things. You know, he was always quick to speak his mind freely. Didn't care how anybody felt. He shared his personal opinions, whether you liked it or not. But he also spoke loud because they said he was like an angry old man, a grumpy old man. You know how grumpy old men are. They just flash out. Real flamboyant with their words, real loud, real obnoxious, real rambunctious, whatever you want to call it, however you want to describe it. If he was mad, he spoke about it, whether it was on the phone, during a conference call, on the tier, on the yard. So when I heard this information, it was hard to believe. It was hard to believe until I seen it with my own eyes. And then I was able to take what I seen with my own eyes and get it confirmed. So what it was is he was walking the track with some of his brothers. And sometimes on the prison yards in California, out of nowhere, IGI will be on the yard. You'll see one on the yard. You'll see one walking the track by himself. Like, dude, they would walk around the track like, man, ain't nobody going to touch me. I'm walking by myself. They're going in the areas. They're telling you to put your hands on the wall. They're stripping you down. If you look suspicious, you look suspect, empty your pockets, strip you butt naked in front of the yard. Sun be beaming on your back. They're grimy like that, bro. They'll make you bend over, spread the cheeks on the yard in front of everybody when they're out there. Sometimes they'll be by the tower just with a camera, looking for validation points, looking for information. So on this particular day, Popeye was on the yard. He was talking to one of his fellow brothers. They didn't give me an idea which brother it was particular. And he was just being boisterous and, should I say, being loud. Like I said, loud, talking loud. Now, you could look at it two ways. You could look at it like he was being loud purposely because he knew IGI was listening, or he was just being loud and IGI just happened to be eavesdropping. So all he said was, he couldn't believe that his brothers did it. And he spoke about the Stomper situation, but he happened to be mentioning particular names. So when I heard this, he's basically relinquishing information about Shorty getting it done behind his back, even though Shorty told him to his face that he wasn't going to do nothing, that he wasn't going to get involved. So to me, this situation reminds me of, the whole John Gotti and Sammy the Bull situation, why Sammy the Bull turned. They said that John Gotti knew this particular area was wiretapped. So he started speaking about particular crimes and particular situations that were incriminating Sammy the Bull and taking the spotlight off John Gotti. So that way Sammy the Bull got arrested and John Gotti got free, kind of like dry snitching. So this is what kind of made it seem like it was dry snitching. A lot of people interpret the situation that he was speaking loud and obnoxious about vivid details, specific details, intricate details about Stomper's situation, incriminating his fellow brothers while IGI was present on the yard. The thing about the situation is everybody's familiar with it. IGI heard everything Popeye was saying, jotted it down. Got everything Popeye said, jotted it down, and actually created a 1030 in Shorty's C file which got Shorty snatched up off the yard. The hard part that's kind of hard to believe, but it's on paper. You can obtain that kind of information if you file for it. So the 1030 is never going to say a specific name. It never does. It always highlights out the names. But the 1030, you get a copy of your 1030 because I got copies of all my 1030s of everybody that debriefed and snitched on me. It'll say all the information that was told about you. You're just not going to get the information or the identity of the person that provided the confidential information in the first place. So what they did is they extracted the conversation from Popeye and the conversation he was having with his brothers, jotted it down, put it on paper to incriminate Shorty, and IGI put it as a 1030. So Shorty, through all the legalities and research and applying for it, got the 1030 and just put two and two together. Now, in that 1030, it does not specify the name of where the information came from, but it makes it look like the information came from a confidential informant, when in all reality, it was just something they overheard and put it on paper and utilized it to incriminate somebody and snatch somebody off the yard and get them under investigation for an attempted murder case. So Shorty used that as a means to advocate, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back. They all hated Popeye. They all wanted Popeye dead. They all wanted his power because, think about it, he gets killed and a week later they took over his territories like that. You can't take over cities and neighborhoods and flea markets and, everything that you tax and businesses within a week if you don't already have it planned for months. So they've been planning his takeover for a very long time. They were planning to overthrow him for a very long time. That 1030 was a justifiable reason to kill him on the yard, kill a lot of his members that were working for him, and easily take over his territory within 1 week. That just goes to show you the treachery that does exist within these prison organizations, but yet a lot of people tend to come on YouTube and glorify them for their antics or who they are and how they presented themselves on the yard or, just the idea of them. And I'll end it on this note. Popeye was one of the individuals that resisted the commission. When it first came out, the state commission of the Mexican Mafia, it got shut down. The second time he was brought up, the members that were on it at the time, which was 4 and 5 individuals, some of those individuals have stepped down, and when the Ayala brothers came out, he was against it. He didn't believe in it, but yeah, I think he was because he was too powerful than all the members on the state commission in the first place to ever get involved with the commission in the first place. And that's what it took. All these members that weren't as powerful as him, but managed to conjoin themselves in a commission to make a state leadership, and their majority vote is what led to that man's demise. And it's crazy that the state commission, as it was created, took Popeye's empire, took Fly's empire, and took Tonito's empire. So if you really think about it, they all created their own empires. And one of the main heads of the snake, Huero Caballo, was on the commission during all 3 of his own brothers' demise. So what does that go to tell you? It's all treachery. Treachery exists more than anything within the prison gangs, but most importantly within the Mexican prison gangs. And that's why I'm trying to encourage the kids that don't get involved in the lifestyle, because one decision leads to another decision that's going to lead to another decision. It's so easy to incriminate yourself and get involved with prison politics because you got yourself involved with street politics and gang politics. If it's that easy to get involved in that, it's going to be that easy for them to lure you into those prison politics. And you could be the one with the carrot on a stick in front of you, and they lead you down the wrong path, getting stomped or possibly lose your life in the prison system. That's why I do these kind of videos for the youth. So with that being said, like I always say, it's one life, one chance. We only got one chance to do this right. Let's get it done. Peace.